angels, it's Hailey Reese and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited that you are joining me for yet another video, or perhaps your first, and I hope that you are having an absolutely magical morning, afternoon, or night. Today's video is so freaking interesting. Like, I have so much that I want to talk about with you guys, things that I want to touch on, and I have an experience that recently happened to me that is absolutely mind-blowing. It just doesn't make sense, but I think that's what makes it so interesting. So I hope that you guys enjoy this video. Recently, I've been diving into so many different, I wouldn't even say conspiracy theories, but theories, and one of which being the quantum immortality. Now, I was looking into quantum immortality and how this ties in to Mandela effects and how we all remember things differently, and I ended up diving down a rabbit hole of recent Mandela effects for an upcoming video. But this video has to be shared with you guys first because this is where things get super weird, like bizarre. Now, before we continue on with today's video, I am so excited to share Purple Garden with you guys. Now, I absolutely love using Purple Garden for readings, and I am so excited that they are sponsoring today's video. Purple Garden connects you with talented psychic, tarot, and astrology advisors. These advisors are there to enlighten, inspire, and empower you, and they're vetted and voted for by people like you. All you gotta do is create an account and choose from hundreds of advisors online right now. Whatever questions you may have or clarity you may be needing, Purple Garden will have an advisor for you, whether that's looking into your love life, where your career is heading, or just really anything you need clarity or insight on, with absolutely no sugarcoating. Now, I'm a really big energy person, so something that I absolutely love about Purple Garden is that each advisor has made a brief video just kind of introducing themselves and explaining who they are and what they do, making choosing an advisor for you all the more easy. Lately, I've been kind of looking into different projects that I want to embark on, which take me down many different paths, and I've been really finding myself looking for insight into what's the best path for me. And when I tell you guys, I genuinely had a reading that was so accurate, I had goosebumps all over my body. I'm not even exaggerating. I also love that Purple Garden offers palm readings, angel insights, oracle guidance, and dream analysis. There is just something for everybody on Purple Garden. And better yet, you can connect with your advisor via text chat, phone call, or video call, whatever you're more comfortable with. I highly suggest checking out Purple Garden, and better yet, if you head to trypurplegarden.com/Reese and use my code Reese, I will have it linked at the very top of my description box. As a new Purple Garden customer, you will get your first deposit of $10 matched. So make sure to head to trypurplegarden.com/Reese and use my code Reese. Again, it will be linked at the very top of my description for your convenience. And thank you so much to Purple Garden for sponsoring today's video and providing me with so much insight. But without further ado, let's get into this, because when I say it's crazy, it's crazy. So before I get into my personal experience, let's kind of backtrack for a second as to what my week was like leading up to this. Now, as I'm sure you've noticed on my channel, I've been a little MIA over the past week, had a lot going on, but during my time down, I was looking deeply into new Mandela effects, some of the older ones, plausible reasonings as to why so many of us remember things differently. I was looking into quantum immortality, quantum leaping, and just overall the concept of whether or not we exist in alternate universes, different versions of ourselves. Do we shift timelines? And one of the reasons that I started really looking into this was because I keep seeing people on TikTok and just social media in general claiming that they feel as though they have completely shifted their reality, that they have shifted timelines, and that there are little things within their world that they remember differently than those around them, and it feels as though they were existing in a alternate universe, so to speak, perhaps a parallel universe, whatever you want to call it, and they feel like they're within the wrong timeline right now. And I found that to be really fascinating because I've always been interested in this type of stuff. One thing that I want to read to you guys is an article that I found prior to what happened to me, and we're going to get to what happened to me because it's I don't even know how to explain it till I get there. But there's this example of a man named Jerry. His name really isn't Jerry. He wanted his identity to remain private because he didn't want people to think he was crazy. But essentially, it says that Jerry was driving on a highway when a pickup truck going the opposite direction crossed the center line. It happened so quickly, he didn't have any time to swerve. It says the truck was so close I couldn't react. There was no avoiding it. We were going 65 or 70 miles per hour and I knew I wouldn't survive. He shut his eyes and braced for impact. He says, I waited 2-3 seconds, but there was no crash, no sound of tires screeching. I opened my eyes and we were past the point of the collision and much further down the road than we should have been if we had simply missed each other. I looked in my rearview mirror and the truck was moving away from us much further than it should have been and no longer in our lane. The whole thing was impossible. But here's where it gets really strange. So he brushes off the glitch as some sort of like one-time seizure episode, and he begins to notice that in the days that followed, really big things shifted, one of which being his job. It says that he used to get along with everybody that he worked with, especially his boss, who was also a good friend. But after that day on the highway, everyone was suddenly hostile. His boss was now an alcoholic, turned into a big and they were constantly butting heads, things that had never happened, and he ended up quitting that job months later. He noticed that people around him were different. People seemed to deliberately move in front of him. He felt like something fundamental in his reality shifted and navigating the world became far more difficult. Success for him had always been very easy and was now completely out of reach. He couldn't find a new job. And he says he doesn't talk about the shift because when he does, people get angry for a reason. He thinks something happened with that accident and he is now living in an alternate reality, which leads into the concept of quantum immortality. Now, if you guys want me to do an entire video on this, because this is about my experience, but I wanted to give you an insight into where I was at before this happened, I can do an entire video on quantum immortality and all of these theories and whatnot. But I'll read you a little snippet of this. Quantum immortality started as a thought experiment in the late 1980s, okay? It suggests that we may die many times throughout our lives. With each passing, our consciousness moves, slides, jumps, or shifts to the closest timeline, very similar to the one in which we died. It is a concept that, combined with other ideas, suggests that that could have been what happened to Jerry, among other potential explanations. But then it moves into the concept of dimensional jumping. And it says that most people don't even realize that they've jumped dimensions until later, unless the event was particularly traumatic. Sometimes they can trace the shift back to a specific global tragedy or experience such as Jerry's accident. But small differences are sometimes noted, such as like a dress may now be green instead of blue, or a friend goes now by their middle name, or things could be a lot bigger as well. But here's another thing, is the dimensional jumping occurs every time we make a fatal mistake. We didn't swerve, we didn't get to the hospital in time, etc. With each death, that timeline ceases to exist for us, okay? The potential reality collapses and is closed off and we move to the next closest. So where is this all relevant to my story? Okay, here we go. So I was looking into this and was looking into the correlation of it with Mandela effects specifically, because that would make a lot of sense as to why many of us remember things that others remember differently. For an example, if I jumped to an alternate reality and I had a memory of something from my previous reality, it would not be the same as somebody who had never left that reality I jumped to. Okay, so I'm looking into this and I'm doing a bunch of research for the upcoming video on it, and I'm looking into the Mandela effect and I'm super excited about it. And keep in mind, at this particular point in time, I haven't uploaded for a couple of days. Now, I am obsessed with talking to you guys on Instagram. I think one of the coolest things is meeting people all across the world through social media, becoming friends with them, learning about them and whatnot. So I'm always going through my DMs from you guys and replying to as many of them as I can. And I get a DM from one of you in my requests that was really strange to me. In this DM, the girl goes on to ask me why I had deleted my Mandela effect video that I just posted, saying that she was really looking forward to watching it. She got the notification, but she was at work, she wasn't able to watch it, and then now it's completely disappeared. I found that really strange because, well, in that exact moment that I'd seen her DM, I was taking a break from typing up my video, I realized I had not uploaded a Mandela effect video. I was creating a Mandela effect video that I was going to be uploading later on. Where this is strange is that's not the first time that this has happened. I've uploaded videos in the past that so many of you have commented and have been like, I've seen this video, Hailey, I've seen it, to the point that I've went through all of my videos to be like, did I cover this case already? I don't think I did. And it turns out that I didn't, but yet so many of you believe you've watched that video before. And I've always kind of chalked it up to perhaps they're remembering somebody else who covered the case and they thought it was me, but they watched somebody else, because a lot of us cover the same cases and crimes and all of that. But a lot of you were adamant saying like, no, Hailey, I know for a fact it was you. And that's happened many times in the past as well. But what I found so weird about this one was that she specifically remembered seeing me do a Mandela effect video without knowing. I hadn't posted on any of my social media that that's a video that I was going to do. And I have not done a Mandela effect video for years. It has been a very long time since I've dove into the Mandela effect. And it just so happened, because I was looking into all of this other stuff, that it all tied in like that. So I ended up calling one of my friends that I was like on the phone talking about it. And I was saying it was the strangest thing how this person seems to have known that I was going to do that video, but I didn't. And to be fair, she was also very freaked out, because she's like, I feel like I'm going crazy. I know I got the notification, but she did not have the notification at all, even though she specifically remembers having seen the notification for said video. So I'm telling my friend about it. And what's even weirder is my friend goes on to tell me that that day that the girl had wrote me, she experienced something really strange too. She ended up calling one of her other friends, and her friend was like, we already had this conversation earlier today. And she's like, no, we didn't. I haven't called anybody yet today. And when they both checked their call logs, there had been no phone call. So the one friend was remembering having spoken to her on the exact same conversation, but yet they didn't call each other. And that was just someone that I knew. I asked other people in my life and nobody else had noticed anything strange, but the more that I dig into it, I think about the fact that not everybody notices, right? That's one of the biggest things that they're explaining. So my question is it a strange coincidence and one of you just so happened to think that you had seen a Mandela effect video posted a couple days before, which would have been when I started on my research? Do you think it's a big coincidence? Maybe she's remembering somebody else's video? Or do you think there was some sort of crossing in timelines? I think it's so interesting. Like, I don't know. I have this weird thing. I like to believe, for better or worse, I'm able to attract a lot of things to my life. And when I tend to focus on certain things, they manifest within my life. Law of attraction, law of universal law. But I just had to share this with you guys because I found it so fascinating. And like I said, I've been seeing so many people on TikTok talking about how they've been experiencing what they believe a different reality to be. So one of the things that they talk about a lot is if you've had a near-death experience, if you've had a very close call with death, you may have died in that reality, but your reality had shifted, which I just find to be so interesting and actually just it just messes with your mind, truly. So my question for you concluding this video is, do you believe that we are able to shift timelines? Do you think you've experienced it in your lifetime? Do you feel like that is the cause of the Mandela effect? Do you think that we jump between dimensions, between timelines? What do you think? I am so beyond curious because this stuff fascinates me. And as I said, I do have a video on recent Mandela effects. Some of them, you guys, are making me feel a little crazy because I know for a fact I remember them the way that is supposedly wrong. But that video is coming up. But if you want an entire video on this particular subject, I can dig deeper, find more examples of it and whatnot. I would definitely be interested in doing that. So let me know if it's something that you'd like to see. And that is it for today's video. Once again, I would just absolutely love to thank Purple Garden for sponsoring this video. As I mentioned, if you head to trypurplegarden.com/Reese and use my code Reese, which will all be linked at the top of my description, as a new Purple Garden customer, you will get your first deposit of $10 matched. So make sure you head to trypurplegarden.com/Reese and use my code Reese, again linked at the top of my description. Thank you so much to Purple Garden for sponsoring. If you are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my content, I would be ever so grateful if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, I love to do all things with kindness, and until next time, I love you.